On the line. Okay. Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Okay, this is the Black Travel Summit. Hello, guys. How are you doing?
Hey.
I'll play some intro music for you guys. As you can see, I'm dressed for the occasion. Hope you
Yes, I
can see
love
and
it.
hear me well. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me just introduce you guys. My name is Anita Francois. I'm with the Black Travel Summit, and today we are meeting with Nii and Kristin from Certified Africa. Good morning and welcome if you're just tuning in. So good morning, guys. How are you doing this morning?
We're
Good,
awesome.
good, good.
We're awesome. We're blessed. We're blessed.
That's good. That's good. Okay, awesome. So tell me a little bit about Certified Africa, what you guys do, what Certified Africa is all about.
Okay,
Right into it.
perfect. So, Certified Africa is a travel and lifestyle company that is focused on influencing the African diaspora to travel to Africa, connect to business opportunities, investment opportunities, and share their entrepreneurial talents with the continent. And, while they're doing all of this, to really focus on contributing positively to the development of Africa.
Okay, awesome. So what inspired the idea for Certified Africa? Tell us a bit about that story and also about the story about how you guys met as well.
But yeah, that story is
together.
really tied together. So actually, I traveled to Ghana in 2016 for a legal study abroad program, and I was there for 3 months. And as a matter of fact, Nii was one of the advisors to the program, and so that's how we met. And I was one of the few people that stayed for the 3 month length of time. And so after the program was over, we kept in touch. And I really just had this, looking back, it was a really transformative experience that literally altered the course of everything that I thought I knew about what I wanted to do in life. Like, I had never traveled to Africa before, didn't know anyone there, but now all of a sudden going there literally just opened up, I would say, opened up my eyes to so many different opportunities. And so towards the end of my trip, my parents actually came to Ghana, and we put together this travel experience for them, and they loved it. And they wanted to, we talked about it, and we were like, wow, we need to really bring more Black people to the continent. They need to be able to experience what we've experienced. And so we really thought about starting a travel company from there, but we weren't quite sure at the time what what our niche would be. And so fast forward, Nii and I end up getting married. Well, he comes to the States a year later. We get married, and one of the first things we do is start Certified Africa.
And so the whole idea of beginning Certified Africa was basically to give other people that looks like her in America the opportunity to experience the amazing experience that she had back in Ghana. Of course, she and her parents. So that was what started the whole idea. And the whole thing was like, let's do it. Let's, show family and friends what you have seen or what you have experienced, But beyond that, we sat down, we're like, look, there are so many people beyond you and your family and friends. So why don't we make this something big, make it something that we will care about, something that we'll pursue as a dream or as a goal. And before we know it, it extended beyond family and friends. And here we are last year, taking close to 100 people back to Ghana. So that's how Certified Africa really started. Something to show family and friends the amazing experience that she and her family, her parents had in Africa, and going beyond that to other people. And also, there's an element of Certified Africa that we care about so much, which is the business aspect. That also came about because, during my work in Ghana, the things that I used to do, the spaces I used to work in, I used to work in the legal system, the legal sector, but it cuts across with businesses here and there, So during that time, I was privy to a lot of meetings, a lot of conferences, and all of that. And the people that I saw from outside that were getting involved with the business space were people that didn't look like my wife. The people that look nothing like myself. So I was like, where are my people? What are the people that look like my wife who are out there? who are not in these spaces. So we decided that, look, if we're going to do Certified Africa to bring people down here, we might as well include the business aspect, because that is key. So that became a strong niche for Certified Africa. I mean, making us a little different from everybody who is in the travel and, if you like, lifestyle, sector, where we don't just take you to Africa, or we don't talk about Africa, but we talk about the business aspect of Africa. So that's how it all ties together, our story and then Certified Africa.
Awesome, awesome. So how do you guys tie in this introduction to entrepreneurship in the motherland for people that you are bringing back from the States?
Yes. So on each of our travel experiences and, depending on which destination, we really, as we're going through the travel destination, we are introducing our travelers to people who have moved back. So let's say, for instance, Ghana. We introduce them to other diasporans who have moved back, who have started businesses, or who may go back and forth to do business. And so they're able to tangibly see, wow, there's somebody who's actually done this as well. There's somebody that has moved back. And it makes it feel so that much more attainable to be able to communicate and network with those people. We also, oh, go ahead.
So also I was going to chip in that. Now, during all our experiences, anybody who's been on our trips will tell you, on the bus, like when we're out there, we're constantly showing people that, look at this area. There's a huge space for you to get involved. Look at that. That's a place you can invest in. So constantly throughout our trips and our experiences, we're constantly pointing out loopholes, places that people can come and fill gaps. We're constantly talking about anybody who was on, we had 2 buses in December, for instance. If you're on my bus, of course, I can speak to my bus. Constantly, I was talking throughout this, look at this field. There's a huge side you could get involved with. Look at that, throughout. So that's one of the ways that we infuse the business aspect. We're pointing out things. We're not just showing you the culture, but once we're showing you that, we're pointing things out, that this is something you can get involved with on the continent as a Black person. So that's how we, showcase. And then also we create, like she said, a platform where we can bring the 2 people together so they can create their own, connection or network from there. So we can show you things during our conferences, but we give you the network so you can now build something, a relationship from there.
In addition to that, we also have our business event. So we have a business seminar that we partner with several organizations to do. But what it allows you to see, you hear from the Ghana Investment and Promotion Authority. You hear from the Ghana Export and Promotion Authority. You also get a chance to do field experiences. So if there's a particular sector that you're interested in, you can break off into that sector and really get a chance to see, okay, here is somebody who started a business in the beauty sector, or here's a person who started a business in real estate, or they're doing real estate. I can shadow them and I can see what it's like, to run this type of business on ground. So those are some of the ways that we infuse it into our travel experiences.
Oh, that's awesome. So what are some of the sectors that you find that a lot of your attendees on your trips are most interested in?
Yeah, I mean, definitely beauty, real estate. We hear a lot about agriculture. What are some of the other areas?
I mean, it's so many. When we start talking about opportunities in Africa, I like to tell people, first of all, it's broad. The starting point that I always tell the people that come on our trips, despite what their interest is that you yourself are a walking business. Whatever it is that you're passionate about here in America or wherever you come from in Europe, that's the first entry point in terms of business that you must begin to focus on. Now, beyond that, we've had people, like she said, who like business, who like beauty. The beauty sector is huge in Africa. A lot of people get interested. Those are people I can say for sure during our trip. Now, also the food industry, the food and beverage industry. That's an industry that I had people have some interest in, express some interest in. So that's also a huge sector that people look at. I know real estate, some people, whisper about real estate that they have interest in. And all these places, all these, sectors we're talking about is huge. There's an open space for everybody to be able to get in there. Even if there's 1,000 people, there's space. You can't finish it your entire life. So these are some of the sectors. Of course, I have a lot of, different sectors like agriculture, which I personally am so passionate about. you know, I constantly introduce it to the people who travel with, and the people I meet here in America. That look, agriculture, as long as people will keep eating in the world, that's a huge sector that never runs out. So that's
Exactly.
even if you don't have any interest in agri, you can still put your money there, because I'm telling you, for your entire lifetime, people are always going to eat. So you don't want to overlook that sector. It's very, very, very huge. And of course, we have the energy sector, people who are very technical and want to move into that sector. That's something you can also look at, you know, just but a few. You can also look at IT, people who are in IT. There's a vast, you know, majority of spaces in the IT sector that you can look at. You can look at training, e-commerce. These are things that you can look at for the African continent. Because a lot of these, today I was listening to a guy who was moved from Ghana, an African-American guy, and he was talking about the fact that America is kind of saturated in the things that he wants to do, because the companies and the business have already been built up. You know, but if you're looking for a place you can start from scratch and build something upwards, it's Africa. So now he's in Ghana building something from scratch. So the IT sector is huge, and he's in IT. It's something you can look at. Fintech, you know, fintech is now growing, you know, it's now being introduced and it's now picking up in Africa. That's a huge sector for the IT guys to jump on board. So, like I said, it's enormous. There's so much different sectors or categories that you can look at.
That's amazing. So for people who are just joining, again, I want to introduce, this is Certified Africa and Black Travel Summit meeting today. If you do have any questions, please feel free to comment in the chat and we'll answer them at the end, or Certified Africa will answer at the end. So what are some of the challenges that you have faced since you've started your business, and in regards to entrepreneurship in the motherland, and, you know, kind of just promoting it in a sense?
I would say that we were actually blessed to be able to start to launch Certified Africa during the year of return. And so we were kind of on the opposite end of what a normal maybe business would go through when they're trying to do something for the first time. So the first time that we launched, the first year that we launched, we had close to 100 people, and we didn't expect for that to happen. But because of the year of return and, you know, so many people, you know, being excited about Ghana and wanting to join, it just really allowed for it to just flow and for us to have a great, successful year.
Yeah, but I would say we had a hard time, you know, being able, again, like we said, if you look at how Certified Africa came to be, the business part was very key. But with the idea of, you know, putting Ghana out there, a lot of people that were coming on board were not, some of the people that were coming were not necessarily people who, you know, cared so much about the business aspect, although we introduced them to it. And funny enough, some of them who didn't before now picked up interest. So creating something that could cater for kind of two groups, somebody who didn't care so much about anything business and just culture. We had a very hard time blending the two, but at the end of the day, it worked out, and it worked out perfectly well. So challenges, I wouldn't say we've had so much challenge. I mean, little difficulties here and there as usual in starting a business, but no major, apart from COVID, of course. COVID is one of the piece that I would say so far has really, you know, came in unexpected, but it's all worked out for good as well, you know. So yeah, that's what I'll say for challenges.
So what are some of the ways that you've been able to maneuver around COVID, and what are some of kind of like your future plans post-COVID?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so again, COVID, I would say, opened our eyes to a lot of different things, which I think I'll leave that portion for my wife to talk about. But it kind of made us go back and then relook at a few things, you know, and that space that we had, because if we're going, because there's no break, you hardly see certain loopholes you have to fill. But COVID gave us that time space that nothing is really happening, to be able to put some things in place going forward. So I would say that's how we kind of, personally, that's how I felt like we picked it from, you know, and taking the space that COVID created, or the time that COVID created, to put certain structures that, of course, we'll be bringing some of them out as we move along post-COVID. You know, we've been able to have time without any pressure to necessarily do anything. We've had time to put some things in place that will be bringing out post-COVID. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that it really allowed for me, for creativity to flow, to think about other ways that we can show up for our audience, because it's like right now, you know, no one can travel, but what are people thinking about? It just doesn't stop there. People are thinking, okay, so for me, what we discovered is that a lot of people, after traveling to Ghana for the year of return, they have these impactful experiences that now their next thought is, oh my God, wow, how can I move to Ghana? How can I feel like this every day? The way that I felt while I was there, how can I get that feeling every day? And they don't really know how, you know, what's the transition or what's the process of moving? What does that look like? And so we started thinking, okay, there are people right now. What we found is that there are people right now who are ready to go to Ghana, move to Ghana as soon as the borders open up. And so it was something that we had also thought about before, but it just became more clear and more evident that, wow, we can show up for, you know, we can show up for our audience this way as, you know, and help them with the process and the transition of moving and starting a business and getting connected to entrepreneurship in Ghana from that perspective. And so that's what we did.
Yeah, so we took the time to put this like a course together that can help these people. You know, we've taken a lot of course already to see who is ready to be helped in that respect. Yeah, so yeah, that's some of the things we've been doing.
Okay, awesome. Now, Arthur,
go ahead.
Did you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it also. I would say it also gave us some time to think about, to really focus in on the entrepreneurship piece for our travel experiences and making it more in depth. Because when we did start, of course, we had some people who weren't necessarily interested in entrepreneurship, but now that we're kind of like really getting into that focus, we put together a couples and business travel experience for 2021. We put together another travel experience that allows someone to literally, from the time they come to Ghana, put together a business plan, identify a sector that they're interested in, have a pitch competition, and basically when they leave, have a solid, tangible business plan to put something in action by the time that they leave Ghana. So we were able to think of, you know, amazing experiences that really go in line with our mission and vision. Yeah. Awesome.
Now, are there other programs in Ghana and anywhere else in the motherland? I'm not certain if you are connected with other, you know, institutions in the motherland in regards to entrepreneurship and kind of like this going back kind of movement, whether it be from America or from Europe, etc. What are some of the relationships that you guys have with other organizations, if you do have relationships with other organizations, and how do you kind of partner with them in order to continue this movement that is becoming so popular today?
So if you're asking of people who are also doing what we're doing in terms of helping people move, is that what you're asking? Yeah, I mean,
yes, sir.
For now, to be honest with you, we've not, say, partnered with anybody yet to say that, okay, we're joining hands with people who are also helping other people to move. Although we're encouraged that, because like I said, it's a big space. No one group can handle the large number of people that need to see the continent or want to move to the continent and start a business. So we are doing, and I know a few that are also doing, that are helping the diaspora actually move. There are quite a few that are doing that. People want to relocate and do business. But we have not personally had any partnerships with any of these groups yet. But I know there are a lot out there that are also doing that, which is great. And we need more people who will be willing to take up that mantle to say, look, there are too many Black people in America and in Europe who are not going back to Africa, either to live or to do business. So how can we get a message to them, to get them to move? It's a big space. We need more people to come involved. But for now, we don't have any partnership with anybody yet.
Okay, awesome. Now, I heard earlier you mention about the year of return, and that kind of like boosted people who wanted to attend your trips. What do you feel, what are your true thoughts about the year of return for Ghana, what it has done for the country, whether it be tourism-wise or entrepreneurship-wise?
So, I mean, the year of return was a great initiative. And of course, it's now continuing beyond a return. It means it's not dying now. It was a great initiative the president of Ghana, President Akufo-Addo, took up, which I think brought people have been going to Ghana or moving back to Africa before now, but that boosted that whole, you know, vibe or that whole movement to another level. You know, I believe that it created some more awareness, you know, to people who before now may not be aware. Because don't forget, during the year of return and even before, the year before, we had all these Black American celebrities who went to Ghana to initiate, I mean, what they call the Full Circle Festival, which, of course, a lot of people, I met a lot of people who, when you hear my accent, they say, "Are you from Africa?" I say, "Yes, I'm from Ghana." And then they talk about some of the celebrities they had seen in 2018 that had gone to Ghana. Before then, they had no idea, you know, what Ghana was, you know, but because of that. So I think overall, the year of return kind of boosted everything, not just Ghana, the entire African continent. It made people aware that there's a place called Africa that has a lot of potential that everybody can actually go to, especially for Black people. You know, it created an atmosphere where a lot of people who thought that Africa could not be home for them before now had the opportunity to see it as a place I can actually go as a home. Because if Boris Kojo can actually be in Ghana, I mean, you can also be in Ghana and be comfortable. You get what I mean? So that you know, chance for people to move back became bigger than what it's been previously. You know, aside all the economic benefits that it came with. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, definitely. That was great. That was awesome. So Kristin, I guess this is more directed towards you, but it also includes you as well, Nii. So what kind of inspired your ambition and your desire to travel not only across the globe, but then also to the motherland as well?
Yeah, I would say that it's something that I've always wanted to do, and it's just been, you know, on my heart for quite some time. And I remember 2015, I kind of made this declaration that next year I'm gonna make it to the continent, I'm gonna make it to the motherland. And I started doing research and found out about Ghana, and Ghana just seemed like a great place for me to get my first start in. You know, they talked about it being a peaceful country, about how people are so welcoming, and that just made me want to choose Ghana. And from there, it was really about connecting. And I think for a lot of people, just connecting to your roots, connecting to a piece of me that I felt like that I had never been able to touch, or that I had been kind of taken away from me. And so when I got there, that was my chance to really look into my history, my, you know, ancestry. I think I did an ancestry DNA test, and I had some parts were Ghanaian and some were Nigerian. And it just made me, you know, it made me feel confident that I was connecting to my history. And it made me feel proud to be a Black woman, to be African. It made me just, you know, really, like I said, forged a new path and opened up my eyes to a whole new continent that's waiting for me as a Black person. And I don't think that I had ever thought about doing international business prior to that. I don't think that I had ever saw myself living in the continent. But the moment that I stepped foot there, I just knew, like, this is where I feel like I'm supposed to be. This is where I feel at home. This is where I feel most like myself. And, you know, the relationships that I built there are so genuine. When I'm there, like, the way that I feel is just so amazing. Like, I laugh, I, you know, eat from the earth. Like, all of these things that I desire for myself just are heightened when I'm on the continent. So
yeah, she didn't also think that she'll be marrying an African right from Africa. So yeah, but it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
You know, let me just chip this in. Today I was listening to a guy, an African American guy, the one I was talking about who moved, and he made a joke, but he was actually very serious. And he said he's from Chicago actually, and whenever he's coming to Africa at the time, he hear people telling him that be safe, you know, and he's like, I mean, Ghana, where I'm going to is 100 times safer than where you're actually telling me to be. The
So
place
true.
you are that you're telling me to be safe. So he found that very funny and ironic that you are telling me to be safe because I'm going to Africa, and you are in Chicago where you are the least safe as compared to where I'm going to, you know. But they just won't get it. So he just said, okay, I'll be safe, and then he leaves and goes to have a good time, you know. So yeah, just to chip that in.
All right, so for those who are tuned in that aren't followers of Certified Africa, and then obviously this is for myself as well because I'm half African. It's not West African, it's East African. So I'm really interested in hearing about any future plans that you guys have for working with other countries,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Where
in
in East
Africa.
Africa are you from?
Seychelles.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's one place that we personally have decided to visit.
Yeah.
Not as a group, but the two of us. And when we go and I know we love it, then maybe we'll plan a trip there. But yes, we're coming to East Africa next year, hopefully. Kenya. We're doing Kenya next year, hopefully. You know, because a lot of people love Kenya. The culture is there. They also love the safaris and all of that. So we give a blend of both. And then we'll touch on a little business whilst we are there as well. So next year we're doing Kenya. And then of course we are spreading to other parts. We're trying to look at the Caribbean as well. Because I believe that when we talk about Africa, we can't leave the Caribbean out. A lot of times we take them out and make it look like they're part of the Western world. No. I think they're part of Africa, and if we're deciding to focus on Africa or any movement in Africa, the Caribbean is key for us too. So we're looking at Trinidad next year as well, you know. And people like fun, so we always like to use the fun piece to still get people to begin to think about things that we think are relevant, like business and opportunities and impact in that respect. And we have some family in Grenada. My wife has some family, which is not my family, in Grenada. So we're also planning something for Grenada eventually, either 2022. We're looking at Grenada. So we're spreading our wings, not just Africa, but also to the Caribbean.
We also recently had a live that we did with Pine and Ginger.
Jamaica.
Yeah,
yes.
So Jamaica.
Forgot, yes.
Yeah, and we talked about, of course, people who are Jamaican know that there is a connection between Ghana and Jamaica. And so we were talking about doing some sort of cultural and trade exchange between the two countries and making sure that there is that connection. And so, you know, people don't think about the Caribbean when they're thinking about diaspora relations always. And so we're creating that platform to be able to bring the Caribbean in.
And so just a quick one. Whenever we talk about, of course, Africa, just for those who think it's one country, it's not. And it's not just about Ghana as well. There are a lot of places. You don't have to necessarily move to Ghana. It's good if you come. Ghana is great. It's amazing. But there are several other places other people, you know, can also move to. They find love. So there's a guy I saw online who was advising people that visit a number of places and then you take a decision. People, I know African Americans who have built great businesses in different parts of Africa. You know, some in Gambia, there's a great group called the Black Acre of Gambia. There's a family who moved from Tennessee, I think, in America, and they've built a whole empire. They're building an empire in Gambia. And there are several people who have built businesses, IT, all over the place, in Ethiopia and other places. So there are different places. If you don't love Ghana, you could visit. But I bet you love Ghana when you come as well. So it's a big space you can venture into.
Awesome, awesome. So Nii, I guess this is directed more towards you. You sound like you sound like you've been doing business your whole life. What's the story behind that?
What's the story behind what? I didn't catch that.
You sound like you've been a business professional your whole life. What's the story behind that? All your knowledge.
So here's the thing. I wouldn't call myself a business professional necessarily, you know, but I've just grown to be passionate about entrepreneurship and business because I feel like it's one of the easy ways to freedom, especially as a Black person or as a minority, wherever you find yourself. Of course, in Africa, you're a majority, you know, but of course, in Africa as well, you have to look at where you're coming from, the house you're coming from, and how you want to climb the ladder in that respect. So either way, I've felt like entrepreneurship and business is a way that you can actually build whatever you want to build and be able to leave a legacy, you know. So that with that kind of, you know, inner feeling or excitement, it kind of propels me to dig into anything business. Every day I'm actually disturbing my family, both the one with my wife and then my personal family, that, hey, look, there's a business idea we can actually venture. Just yesterday, I was talking to my parents about a new business idea I came across. They're like, look, you're always thinking about so many. But that's the whole thing. It's not any special thing, but I've built that with time. I've just taken interest in entrepreneurship and business. And I'm always learning, constantly learning new things, new ideas. If it takes me 5 years to build it, I'm ready to go through it. Because I know when it works out, it's going to play out for good. And I've decided with my little knowledge on Africa, of course, and Ghana, in terms of the business space, anybody who needs any type of help, we're willing to give that help as much as we can. That's the goal. You don't have to know too much to be able to help the next person. But whoever you know a little bit more than, you can always give back. And that's how I see myself. Somebody who knows something little that I'm willing to share with other people. So not an expert, yeah, but learning every day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love to hear such passion and drive, especially in entrepreneurs of color. What are some advice, or what are some skill sets or things that you've learned about yourself, both of you, since you've come into this business together? What are some tips you can also give to people as well?
I would say number one, starting out as a new entrepreneur, oftentimes we sometimes, you know, want to get so far into the details and the perplexing things like, you know, building a website or, you know, wanting to come up with colors and, you know, all of these things that don't necessarily equate to getting your first customer or getting your first sale or making that actual thing happen. And I tend to obsess a lot about those things. But Nii is the type that is kind of like, you know, let's just do it. What do we need to do to be able to make this happen? What do we need to do our first travel experience?
Take the first step.
You know, to take the first step. And so he's very first step oriented. And I think that that's what we as entrepreneurs need to focus more on. You know, what can you do to just propel forward?
Yeah. So let me just chip in something briefly if I understood your question. Now, personally, in terms of some of the experiences that I've had in life, I'm somebody who have made a lot of sacrifices, and I still make them every day. Because and in making sacrifices has actually helped me to always move to the next phase or the next level. If you have to undergo a little pain today by sacrificing something so you can have the greater good tomorrow. And with that experience throughout my life and how things have played out personally, I always like to encourage people who are going into business that, look, you may have to make a little sacrifice in the beginning. You may not have everything together. Some people will have to give you something here and there. But you just need to stay humble and keep building what you're building a day at a time. Because when you fail to do that, you'll give up because the help you need is not coming. The way you wish it will grow is not coming together. And you let it go. But look, be willing to make that little sacrifice of starting from somewhere, getting the help you can get, and then building upon that. But don't forget the action piece like she talked about. I like to always move to the first step. Forget about what lies at the end. You know there's always lights at the end of the tunnel. So just begin going through the tunnel. You deal with whatever you deal with as and when you encounter it. It doesn't also mean don't plan. You can plan. But sometimes when you begin to look at all the things that you've put on paper that lies ahead, you may not start, which is very disastrous. So I tell people, look, begin and grow from there. It's very key. Just begin and trust God. Whatever you believe in, just believe and then just get it going. Start it. Like just begin it. You know, just begin it and you make it through. You know, it doesn't take genius to do that. It's just a matter of knowing what you want, going for it. That's it. And learn as you move along. Constant learning is very key. Constant learning. That's how you can make it through. So that's my little advice, or our little advice we can give to people. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, what's your, I guess this could be for both of you, of course, but what is your favorite part about doing what you do with Certified Africa?
Yeah, I would say for me, it's just the joy on people's faces when they actually visit. That's number one. To see people like connecting, to see people have, you know, to tell us about how something made them feel, how a certain experience made them feel connected, or what it's like when they go to, let's say for instance, the Cape Coast Castle, and they get to connect to where maybe where their ancestors were taken from, recounting and hearing how emotional these experiences are for them. Like, really just motivates me and makes me know, like, yes, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Just keep pressing on, no matter like how hard it gets. Just hearing people say, wow, like I never thought that it could be possible for me to live another alternative life than everything that I've ever known. Like being in Ghana just shows me something else that can happen for me. And so that piece is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I've always loved to speak somehow, somewhere, somehow. It doesn't matter what it is. And usually I find myself speaking to encourage people, you know, to not to give up and all things like that. But when this passion for Africa and for Black people outside of Africa came into being, I've always had this push to use that voice to now speak and encourage people who need to come back home and get involved with something. You know, so the joy I always find when I have platforms like this, to be able to say something that will touch somebody who is listening that needs to go back to Africa, that really excites me personally. I trust that people will take some of the things we say, but the ability to be able to contribute and share to that bigger picture, because I look at all the people that have, you know, come through the world who have fought for Africa to be recognized. And I bet you till now we are still finding our way up there. It tells you, like, we can never fill the void, so we can only contribute. So it gives me so much joy to know. You know, I was chatting with my wife recently. We're driving through town. We're talking about some of the huge guys that used to come to Ghana. You know, Martin Luther King. All these guys came to Ghana, but still, a lot of people, African Americans just like them, never even heard of Africa or Ghana, better still, and all these places they went to. So I was kind of curious that, whoa, if all these huge guys talked about Africa, went to Africa, but it didn't push any of these people, it means we have a lot of work to actually do. So the joy I find in being able to join that big, you know, calling, that bigger calling of being able to assist people, talk about it, to get them to come to the continent and be involved somewhere, somehow. It brings me a lot of joy.
That's amazing. Now, for the people who do come on your trips, what is typically the first step for someone? So, for example, if I came on your trip and I was like, oh my gosh, this is definitely what I want to do. I want to start a business. Say, for example, I want to start a business in beauty. What is the next step? Just for everyone else who's listening.
So the next step, there are two parts. Again, like we mentioned, when you come on our trips, we introduce you to people. Okay? So when you encounter these people, some of them are doing different things on a continent. Okay? We introduce you to institutions and all of that, because some of them will come and speak. So that's the first entry point. Based on you, if you want to make any contact with anybody, you want to keep the conversation going, that's up to you, because partnership and relationships are very key. It's important. Now, the second piece is, we also, like we said, have also thought about how best we can access people. Before, we had this back room, if you like, what we call, if you want, contact us, and we'll introduce you to the relevant people to help you, you know, and that's. But this time around, we've built something that everybody else fit into it. People who can help you, and we as well. So we have put together that course that now when you come on our trips and say, look, I want to begin this move. Even if you have not come on our trip, but you visited Ghana on your own, you say, look, I want to start this business journey, this relocation journey, this creating a legacy for the next generation journey. You can now come through that course where we're going to take you step by step, you know, introduce you to the necessary resources that you need, give you a blueprint, if you like, of from step 1 to step 10 of making this move or this business thing a reality. So that's the channel I think you can use now. Through the contacts we introduce you to when you're in Ghana, or through what we have built that is credible, that gives you that, you know, overview, or better so that in-depth knowledge of what you should do, or the steps you can take and the people you should move, the step-by-step process of making it easy. So that's the two channels I would say you can use.
Awesome, awesome. So we're just about to wrap up, guys. I just want to thank you again, Certified Africa, for joining me from the Black Travel Summit today. We're about to go through some of the questions that you guys have asked. Feel free to ask some more questions as well. Before we get to the questions, guys, is there anything else that you want to add, and just tell people a little bit about Certified Africa for those who have just joined as well before we end?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to touch on some of the upcoming trips that we have. Of course, we've talked about some of the things that we do and all of that. So people can check out our pages, our social media platforms like Instagram at Certified Africa, Facebook, Certified Africa, and our website, certifiedafrica.com. You know, but beyond that, just to re-emphasize some of the trips that we have, you know, next year or this year, we have our December experience, New Year's Eve in the motherland experience. December is still happening. We've not canceled it yet, you know, and we're also giving, our policy has changed to where if we're not able to hold a trip due to COVID by December, we'll give you a full refund, you know, but you still want to lock yourself up if you can. So our December experience is still happening, and the business piece is still there as well. So we also have our Trinidad Carnival experience in 2021 as well. So that also is also on our website. People can also look at it. So that's also coming up. And then we also have our couples trip in September next year, 2021. Our September experience. Sorry, our couples trip or couples in business experience in Ghana as well. That's also coming out. We have only 6 spots for that, 6 couples. So if you're a couple and you want to be part of that, it's very limited space. So 12 people as a whole. So just 6 couples. So you want to look at that as well. So basically, these are some of the things that we're doing. Also, our online store where we bring Africa to you. So if you don't want to come to Africa yet, we're bringing Africa to you through our online marketplace. So you can also find that on our website. Our online store is there as well. You have a lot of different things.
Clothing, accessories. I mean, so many different things. So go and check it out.
So finally,
awesome.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, the final thing that I'll tell people is that if you're a Black person living anywhere in the world, but not Africa, and you have never been, we encourage you to make the first move and visit. For those who have been and you want to also move back, you won't regret it doing so. You won't regret living in Africa. That also you can take the step and then make it happen. But let nobody discourage you, not even yourself, from making a move to Africa. In terms of doing business on a continent too, I bet you it is very rewarding. You won't regret it. It's rewarding not because you make just money, but the satisfaction you have and the impact you'll be having is so amazing. It's bigger and greater than any money that you could make from the continent. You will be making the money for sure, but the impact that you'll be having will be lasting. And a lot of people in America, you may never be able to build a solid legacy, maybe in America, but Africa gives you the platform to be able to build that, to build something that generations, when they go to a place, they can mention your name or see something that has your name on it. It's Africa, you can make that happen. So don't overlook that in your journey. You know, just consider Africa and then make a move. Ghana especially, of course, I'm from Ghana, so I'll advocate for Ghana. So Ghana especially, or wherever on the continent, just make the move and you won't regret it. And if you want to go Certified Africa, you can come with us. We'll give you a good time there.
Awesome. Okay, so some of the questions. Now, Grub-Free, in addition to somebody else, I believe is interested in inquiring about how to go about getting dual citizenship, or I guess residency at all in Ghana.
So in terms of residency, you need to go through the immigration service. Okay, you need to go through the immigration service. You need to apply. It's quite easy. It's not tedious. You just need to apply. If you go on the immigration website, you can apply. But again, these are things that you can get help. I tell people, if you're doing anything in Africa, try and get help. It's a new grounds you're venturing into. Try and get somebody that can assist you. I can direct you to the immigration website. You can go there. You see the application process and everything. But sometimes it pays to have somebody who is guiding you through the process. And that's some of what we do on our course when you join. We're able to take you through all of these things. Because if you want to have right of abode or registration to live there, it means that you definitely want to move. So that's something you want to get help so you can make it happen once and for all. People do it and they don't do it right. Although they get all the information, but eventually they don't get it right because everything is scattered. So that's how you can become a registered resident in Ghana through the immigration service, and you'll be fine. Once you visit, you can begin to look into that. But you can start with their website and you get the necessary information. But get help. Again, get help. If not from us, but get some help and let somebody help you make it happen. Yeah.
Is it a lengthy process? So is it something that can take a year or two, or is it pretty quick?
No, I wouldn't. If for residents, no, it doesn't take long. For residents, no. If it's for citizenship, yes, then of course it may take some time, just like any other place in the world. You may even be lucky, maybe faster, but at least that would take some time. Now you have the chance through the right of a bold act. You can do that, but it will take some time. But for resident, it's not that lengthy of a process. I encourage you to initiate it, and you'll be fine. Yes, but still get help if you can. Get help if you can.
Okay, awesome. Now, Twende Global, hi Twende Global, they're asking how difficult is it to buy land and property in Ghana? And I guess I want to add on, is this something that's just for residents, or can foreigners do it as well?
Yes, foreigners can do that as well. Anybody can buy land. You can own a house, a property in Ghana. You can do that easily. Okay, but again, you need to get help so you can use the right channels. But it's not a tedious process. I never want to tell people things are difficult, because it's not. Okay, if you do it right, you may not encounter any hurdles. But if you don't do it right, you try to use some backdoor stuff, then it becomes complex. You buy a land not knowing you've sold it for somebody else, which happens everywhere. But you want to use the proper channels. When you get the right help, professional help, you'll be able to get it done with ease. The lands are there. Africa has 60% of the world's unused land. So the lands are there. You need to get it right. And everybody, every black person from outside, you can acquire land in Ghana. You have the right to do so. Yes.
Okay, awesome. And I guess I want to just, for everyone who didn't hear in the beginning, what are some of the most I guess sought after industries in the motherland for people to kind of like take on when they move there? Like, I know you said beauty, I know you said IT as well, but for other people who didn't hear, what about some other industries that people can get into?
So, I mean, I think that people want to start, we like to recommend that they look at what they're most passionate about. And then you also want to take a look at, okay, so what are some of the areas that, you know, may look as if there is a need? You know, what are some of the issues or problems that I can solve? And, you know, when you think about the diaspora coming back to Africa, and a lot of people moving because, you know, they want peace of mind or because they want a new change in life, a lot of these people have a certain lifestyle that they go to Ghana to seek. So they may be interested in health. They may be interested in yoga. You know, you think of different ideas that kind of span from some of these new cultures that will be popping up in Ghana. So for instance, in health, you may think of starting a plant-based restaurant or some sort of plant-based food that, you know, may not be there. There may not be a plant-based bakery yet. You know, you might want to think of starting a yoga studio or, you know, some sort of health and wellness brand that caters to this new population that will be coming to Ghana. There's also, you know, go ahead.
So yeah, let me just every time I'm on live or anywhere and I'm talking about opportunities in Africa, I like to put it out there that there are enormous opportunities. If I tell you can start a cleaning company now, I bet you it doesn't make you start a cleaning company in Africa. You have to take a step and visit Africa, look around you, talk to people, see what's needed. What is needed in those communities? What are you passionate about? What if you put your money in, you'll be willing to see it grow? These are the things you need to do so you can have some relevant outcome. But just knowing about opportunities in Africa, I bet you doesn't do you any good. There's so much everywhere in Africa. There's so much to be solved. You get my point? So people should just open up themselves, visit the continent, talk to people, and then get it done. If you call me tomorrow and tell me, look, Certified Africa, I have $10,000. I want to start a business in Africa. Any type of business I want to put my money into it, $10,000. Then I can say, this is somebody who's serious. I can show you what to do. But randomly, there's nothing you can do about it. It's so many. I've never done this before, but today I mentioned a few business opportunities actually that people can get involved with. But you still need help to do that. Now, we've talked about a bar and grill business. It's now growing in Ghana. Now, don't forget, people focus on the capital city. But beyond the capital city, which is Accra, there are several other places, other capitals, regional capitals that people can now expand to, which there's nothing so huge there. My sister recently talked to me about, you know, starting a bar and grill business in Obuasi, the Ashanti part of the country. A lot of such things are not there, so people can look at that. Now, we also have the spine, which talked about production in terms of bottled water and distribution. People drink a lot of bottled water, but we don't have so much in Africa. or in Ghana, I should say. There's a sector you can go in and it's never saturated. You can start your own bottled water business. It doesn't take so much to do. You can start a car accessories business. People ship spare parts. We don't make cars in Ghana, so everybody whose car has a breakdown, they need to go buy spare parts from somewhere. That's a huge business that people can look at. If you're in a country where they manufacture those things, then your chances are reduced. But in Africa, we don't manufacture that. So it means that people are constantly looking for a shaft. They're looking for this. They're looking for a wheel. So that's a business. You can put your money in it again and it'll work. But then you need help to do that. Farming, I talked about that. Poultry farming, that's huge. Poultry farming, it's a growing field. Africans consume chicken like never before. But yet still, every single year, we import millions of chicken from outside. Think about it. It's a big space you can actually look at. And the last business I mentioned is fruit juice, packaging. Now, Africa grows a lot of fruits, but we always export the raw fruits like that. You know, so we don't have the finished product. If you're somebody who can think about a way to package the fruit, when I go to the shops here in America, I see how they chop the mangoes, how they chop just the packaging. It's able to make its way to Walmart and other places. If you can do that in Africa, create a business where you can package all of these products, ginger and all of that. In Africa, you need to go to the market to find ginger. You know, it's not well packaged. But if you can package these things and put it in the supermarkets, the malls in Ghana, that's a huge business for you. You know, there are thousands of them, but I'll just mention this few. And this is the first time I'm actually doing that on your platform. I always tell people visit and then be ready to do something. Think about what you're passionate about, you know. So that's how I think I'll leave it at that. The opportunities are enormous. We can go on and
on. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Again, we have one more question. How abundant is the tourism industry in Ghana?
The tourism industry is huge. Okay, because when we talk about tourism, we're talking about people who are coming from other parts of the world into the country. Now, these people need places they're going to sleep. So if you're somebody who have the money to be able to put up a place for people to sleep, like a boutique hotel or even a hostel, these are huge places. Airbnb, that's huge. It's for the tourism sector because the people that will be staying there are people that are coming from outside. Now, in Africa, we have a lot of tourist sites. But the question is, on your way to the tourist site, do you have a place you can stop and have like a rest break, like how you have here in America? We don't have too many of that there. That's a huge opportunity. A lot of people travel all the time. Tourists are coming down, moving to all the destinations, but they need to make their way there before they can use the restroom. So if you can make a rest stop where people can buy snacks, people can actually use a good restroom. That's a huge business in the tourist sector people can look at. Fintech, payment systems, payment platforms that people can actually make payments to whilst they're in Africa. That's something you can look at. And for people who are creative in the apps and tech world, they can think about apps and things that can help people navigate through the system. That's a big business. Now, don't forget, tourists are coming to Ghana. They're traveling every single place. They didn't come with their cars, so they need to take some type of transport. They don't use a public transport. They need something private. Transportation business, that's huge for the tourist sector. Every tourist that is coming, they're looking for a vehicle to either rent or a bus that can carry them. It's a tour group. So that's a huge business you can also begin to look at in the tourist sector alone. You know, tourists come to Ghana and they buy things. They buy food and all of that. You can set up a place that tourists can come there and eat or do any have drinks and all of that. That's huge. So again, for that sector alone, you can imagine the type of opportunities that those who are coming from outside alone brings to your business. Not to talk of those in Africa who can patronize that as well. So it's huge either way.
Okay, awesome. So we'll answer this one last question. If you do have any other questions, guys, feel free to reach out to Certified Africa on their Instagram page, on their website, certifiedafrica.com, and any other means. I'm pretty sure they can tell you more. If
they can shoot us a message on Instagram and we'll respond.
Awesome. Okay, so the last question is, what is the average cost of your trip from the US to Ghana?
Yeah, so right now our December New Year's Eve in the Motherland experience starts at $2,800 for the cost of the trip, and that includes a lot of different things: transportation, breakfast daily, your entry fees to the different sites that will be cultural sites that we'll be going to, you know, your tour guides, so many different things, our welcome dinner. Like it's a great experience for that. So if you want to have a single room, that's an additional cost. but the travel experience starts at $2,800.
Okay, awesome. Well, again, this is the Black Travel Summit, and today we met with Certified Africa, Nii and Kristin. Thank you so much for joining me and joining the Black Travel Summit today. Again, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to shoot Certified Africa a message on Instagram at Certified Africa. And if you have any questions for me as well, please feel free to reach out to me at Black Travel Summit. Again, thank you guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll speak soon.
So a quick one.
Yes.
For those who joined your live, I just thought about we could give them a 10% off the December trip if they book within this month. Today's date is what? Yes. So if they book within this month, we'll give them a 10% off. And we'll give them a code. I don't know how we could get it to them. Do I mention the code?
So
live?
if they're interested, they can either reach out to us
you, or yes. We'll give them 10% off.
Yes. So they should reach out to either one of us, and we'll shoot the code to them.
Okay, awesome. Again, just in case you guys didn't hear, you'll be receiving a 10% off discount today just for joining the chat. Feel free to reach out to Certified Africa on Instagram or to the Black Travel Summit, and we'll go ahead and shoot you that code. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in at Certified Africa. We will be speaking shortly, and then everyone have a beautiful day, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.